other than I was able to be with Andy and Todd.
And good morning, Rim Country. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Hope you enjoyed all the snow that we got. Looks like it is done for a little bit, but you never know. You never know here in Rim Country. Still a beautiful day out there. And this morning on our Community Spotlight program, we have District 1 Supervisor Steve Christensen. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing great.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone listening as well. This is actually the first program of the new year, first Community Spotlight program. So hope everyone had a wonderful holiday, great Christmas, and you're having a good New Year so far. 4 days into it, so there we go. It can't be too bad.
Yeah, we're having a great year because look at the moisture we've gotten so far.
Oh, I know.
Such needed moisture.
That's what, I tell people what this means. The more moisture we can get in the wintertime, more snow, the more rain we get, the better chance we have of the forest being open in the spring and the summer.
Right, and also reduce fire danger and increase wildlife habitat and hopefully a little bit more water down into our aquifers.
Oh yeah. No, that's that's really good, and so thankful for all the water, because then there are cycles and there's times where we won't get this much.
The Southwest has been plagued really for hundreds of years, as the scientists have studied the different tree ring growths and stuff of old trees. There's been extended droughts in the Southwest that have lasted hundreds of years. So we're in a drought right now, and so any moisture we get right now is just really a blessing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So talking about, or before the program, what we were going to discuss today, you said you wanted to share some of the projects, accomplishments, things that were done last year.
Yeah.
And recognize those, and then talk about projects that are happening this year.
Well, as far as the county goes, we've actually had a pretty active last year, and we're still very active. So I'm excited about 2023. I'm excited about the hopefulness of a new year, the whole uplift in your spirits about having, a new beginning, and all of that. So, we got a lot coming up to do and everything. But last year, real proud that we were able to increase the wages of all of our employees, not by just a small amount, but, a fairly decent wage that at least had some impact.
Oh, yeah.
Along with that, too, we also were able to increase the wages and institute what's called a STEP program at the Sheriff's Department, which is what they wanted and which is good, and it's real comparable to what other Sheriff's Departments do in the state. And so, essentially speaking, the deputies and the detention officers all got a raise, and also they know now, according to their service and all of the various measurements that you can put on someone, then they move up into these different steps, these stages. And then we're able to actually hire collaterally from other departments or other counties as a result of that, because they're in a STEP program as well. And so we are much more competitive that way.
And that's big. People don't realize sometimes being able to have those laterals come over from different parts of the state, different states. When you're competitive, then that's possible. When you're not, because due to budget restraints or different factors, then you don't get laterals. And laterals can have a big impact because of all the experience they bring, the training they already have, so they can really fill needs in a sheriff's department, police department, fire department. So it's good to be in a place where you can get laterals, attract them.
Right, we don't have to spend a ton of money to do the training
Yes.
and put them through all of that, which is months and months long. And then also it reduces the risk of them leaving to another county that would pay a significant amount more. It gives them a real reason to say, you know, I like Gila County, I think I can make a career of it here. And still kind of hard to live in the Rim Country. It's an expensive place, but we're working on that. So that's something we're kind of proud of that we were able to do. You know, we started that bridge down in Tono. So the river is up right now, by the way, and
Yes.
in fact, they just had to do a rescue.
Saw that. I saw that.
And so please don't drive across the, you know, they have barriers up, don't do it. There's people that have gotten very hurt and people died, of course. Unless you have, I mean, you don't have to get across the river, do you? And so, and then it costs a lot of money to rescue those people. And so, the bridge is going to solve a lot of those issues. It probably won't solve issues about people that just are determined to drive their vehicle into the river, but it will create a lot of safety for our school kids and the elderly and all those that are needing to move back and forth across the river on a regular basis. And so that should be done about a year and a half.
Year and a half. All right.
Yeah. So we've been into it now for what, 6 months or 5 months anyway. And so it's about a 2-year project.
Wow.
So that's like the largest project the Gila County has ever taken on. So it's kind of a cool thing.
And approximately, again, what was the cost? Was that up at 20?
Yeah, we're above 20. Right around 26 to 28 million.
Wow.
And our match on that was 3 or 3.5 million, which we paid. We can afford that, and we did it. So what we're doing is we're getting a pretty significant bridge for $3 million.
Yeah.
And it'll last for, oh gosh,
Yeah.
way beyond our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Wow. Yeah. That's a great deal.
It certainly is. Yeah.
So what else do we have happening or happened last year? Or?
Well, you know, we've been talking about thinning the forest for a long time, improving the C.C. Cragen Reservoir. All of that has been going on this last year.
Oh, yeah.
And there's been quite a bit of thinning going on up at C.C. Cragen. Now, that's not even in Gila County. That's in Coconino County, but it really affects us.
Oh, yeah.
Because the town of Payson gets water from C.C. Cragen. And so it's very important that that reservoir stays healthy and doesn't get a fire through there. And so they've been working on that, and that's a blessing. That's really a partnership, if you think about it, between many agencies.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just the Forest Service, it's also the State Department, the Turkey Foundation's involved. And so anyway, there's a lot of different involved people there, and that's what it takes. One thing that's really great is that the Department of Forestry Management, which is the Arizona State Department of Forestry Management, is going to have offices right here in Payson. And they're going to be out there on our 260 property where my office used to be. And so they're setting up there to have a permanent location up here because of all the projects they want to do in our area.
Oh, that's great.
So not only C.C. Cragen, but also around the Rim Country, we're going to be doing some logging and some thinning. There's going to be some road improvements around. And so all of that's really great. There's money coming in, and a lot of it's the result of Congress acting last year, passing some bills where a couple of our senators, Kelly and Sinema, were vital and involved in trying to get some of the money to us. Along with some of that money is money to improve our quick response water helicopter response, which is what we loosely call to the bladder system. Okay, so the bladders are just giant vinyl pillows full of water, and they're deteriorating. So we're going to address 14 sites, and we've got the money to improve those 14 sites. We'll get rid of the bladders, and we're going to put in more permanent tanks that are going to be 5,000 gallons per, and that's kind of small. And the reason is because then we can handle those. We have the equipment to lift them up, put them on a truck, and move them around and change what we need to at the 14 different sites, whether we're adding or subtracting or whatever. And then those become areas where a helicopter during a first response to a fire sighting can dip right into that system and be close, turn around, grab another dip, and hopefully really reduce the fire, eliminate it, or at least slow it down to where people can get in there and stop it from growing really big. So that's another great improvement that we've done.
Oh, I was just thinking that will have an incredible impact on response time, because if you have 14 of these bladders dispersed in different parts, of the forest, the response time, that dramatically decreases that.
Oh, and we've had them there for a while. They're just deteriorating.
Yes.
They're aging. It was something actually Tommy Klein Martin is the one that decided or had the idea of doing it. And so the bladders have been great. They hold thousands of gallons, but they're aging. They're from the 1990s. They're Army surplus, so they're already used. And they have a life expectancy. They're made out of vinyl and all that. And so it's not that they're completely defunct at the moment. We want to do the replacement before that occurs.
Yes.
And so that's in the process. We should be hearing a little bit more definitive numbers. It's currently being worked on. We've had a workshop on it, which means we give staff the direction of what we'd like to see done, and then they're going to present to us what they feel should be done, and then we'll vote on that. We should be able to see that in the next month or two. I think we should be able to see something where we can make a decision on it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Also, there was a helipad that was built just east of Star Valley. Is that correct? Is that
There's actually a heliport.
Heliport. Okay.
Okay, so that's like an airport for helicopters.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's not really visible at all for anybody. And so if you know where the county buildings are out there, which are on the north side of the highway as you're leaving Star Valley to the east, then the Forest Service is the one that has this. And there's a little road that kind of squirrels around a couple miles out there. And so they have some buildings and they have a location where they can have helicopters do repairs and do whatever's necessary. And that's where they're going to have their heliport. And so you say, well, why haven't we always had that? Well, we haven't always had that. They've actually been stationed up at our airport, and then they have to lease the ramp, and it's just not as convenient. They have to bring in offices and places for people to sleep and fuel and all of that. So this is more of a permanent setup, which is really great.
Well, that is.
Yeah.
Again, just will help with decreasing response time, just having more support here in Payson or in Rim Country for fire support.
Right. So these are all positive trends that we can see going on here.
Yeah.
So no longer the idea that we're neglected or anything. People are paying attention. The right people are paying attention. And a lot of it is just because of various people, myself included, that just are constantly asking, putting the pressure on, when they say, what do you need? What do you want? What is it that we can help you with? Well, I have
a list.
I have a list. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Having that list and staying in front of people to let them know these are the needs of these communities of this area, to make it safer, to make it better. But yeah, no. So what else is there that you want to share, with 2022 or?
Well, one thing that we have been doing in the past too is upgrading our vehicle fleet. And so it's sort of been on hold through COVID and through all the various things. And so a lot of our fleet has been aging, the sheriff's department, all of that. So we have been buying a lot of vehicles. And that's expensive, but it's needed. And so as we get to that point where we have everything upgraded, it's going to be good. We won't have to spend that money again for a long time. And we're actually downsizing our fleet. We're looking at all of the vehicles that we have. So there's maybe between 250 and 300 vehicles throughout the entire county. Not counting the sheriff's department, I don't think, but it's sort of like, okay, they're assigned to this person or that person, or they're shared or whatever. And so those things are all evaluated. And if someone's not utilizing a vehicle enough, or it's too old or whatever, then they're just going to downsize it and say, we don't have it anymore. And so what occurs then is, instead of an employee taking home a vehicle or having a vehicle that they only use maybe an hour a week or something, then we'll just have the opportunity to have them go rent one. And what I mean a rental is a rent from our own fleet. So we would have our own fleet of vehicles parked and ready that people can use. So they come in and they say, okay, it looks like this one's available, and they grab it and they say, I got to go to Phoenix, or I got to go to Globe. They use it, bring it back, and then it's ready for someone else to use. So that's a neat thing.
Yeah, I remember that was what we had at Luke Air Force Base. In the Air Force, you have your vehicle department there, and if you needed a vehicle to do something, you just didn't have one in your fleet, then you could go sign one out from them. So yeah, that's good. Makes it more efficient.
Yes. So anyway, and then coming up now, okay, what's coming up in 2023? There's several ordinances that we have in play right now that we should be finalizing in the next 2 months, 3 months, right in that area. Already have workshops on them. They should be developing them legally, all of that. And then ordinances are tougher, excuse me, because you don't want an ordinance to be overreaching at all. You want it to accomplish what the issue is. And so one of the ordinances is going to be feeding wildlife. Okay, so why is that a negative? Why would we have an ordinance dealing with the feeding of wildlife? And I don't mean bird feeders, or squirrel feeders, or bird baths, or anything like that. Hummingbirds, none of that. It's where people are actually feeding large game, like elk, deer, javelina, anything like that. And what happens then is those animals become a bit used to that, rely on that, and then hang out in our communities. And pine and strawberry are probably one of the two areas that really are bad for that, and it becomes very dangerous. We've had actually a lot of wildlife human interactions that have been very negative. These are not nice, friendly animals like you would encounter in a Disney movie. So you can try and pet them, and you can be, and all that, but they still may attack you. They may hurt you, or they may attack your neighbor because of your own actions. And so we're going to have an ordinance that says, don't feed the wild animals. It's not good for them, and it's not good for the community. So that's coming up.
And now that is coming up in one of the future meetings. Is that?
Yeah, that's coming up in one of our future meetings. We've already had a workshop on it.
Gotcha.
And so, like I said before, if we've had a workshop on it, we've given staff direction. And then staff puts it together, and we should be seeing that coming up for a vote in the next couple months. And it's not intended to put people in jail or do all of that sort of thing. It's just intended to really notify people, give us the ability to put up some signage, education, those kind of things. We don't want to come down on people just because they threw a potato to the javelina, but we're just trying to make aware to the public that even though that sounds like a great thing to do, or it's fun, it's not safe for the community.
Yes, and the other animal seen an increase of in the community, coyotes. I know coyotes just seems like they're running around town quite a bit.
Coyotes are survivors.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're always going to have coyotes. Yeah, they're generally not too afraid of people. They look at your pet as a food source.
Yeah.
You have to really watch, especially your smaller animals. You got to really watch.
There was a little video on YouTube I saw somewhere down in the valley, one of the cities, but a coyote sitting on top of a car out in a neighborhood, and just someone's car parked on the street, and the coyote was actually sitting on the roof of the car as people drove by. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, and see, I don't believe these animals know the difference between what is an urban or rural area. To them, it's all an environment. And they know that when they're in town, there's more roads, there's more cars, there's more people. I don't think that bothers them. I don't think that they're like, oh, look, I'm in town, or I'm a town coyote. They just look at it as, hey, there's more food in the area available. People feed their dogs on their back porch, and I've got that readily available to me, so they take the easy route. Animals are always going to take the easy route when it comes to eating. And so it's a lot easier to eat the neighbor's dog food than it is to chase a rabbit down out in the middle of nowhere. So
that is true. So what other ordinances are?
Well, one of them is the engine brake noise ordinance, okay? And the main concern there was pine and strawberry as well. Coming down into the main sections of pine and strawberry, we just felt there had been constituents saying, look, these guys are running their brakes all the way through, and it's not necessary. And I agree with that. So this isn't intended to create a hazard to anyone or tell truckers that they can't use their brakes. It's just to make an awareness. You know, you're in an area where we're going to try and keep the solitude and the quiet.
Yeah, because there are trucks running through. I mean, probably there's not as many as, travel 87 and then 260 east up to Sholo and Heber, but there are still some trucks for deliveries going up to Happy Jack, going to Pine and Strawberry, and then if they continue on up 87 to the 40. So there are trucks that, travel those roads.
Right, and the diesel trucks have the engine brake, which makes a lot of noise.
Gotcha.
And so, depending on the hour of the day, that can be disruptive.
Yes.
And so they're trying to just kind of all live together and keep the peace. So
and are there any other ordinances?
Well, there's the parking ordinance.
Parking.
Yeah, and this is intended to allow the sheriff's department to be able to tag a vehicle.
Okay.
Rather than just a person. Right now, they don't have the ability to tag illegally parked vehicle.
Okay.
It sounds crazy, but that's true.
Yeah. Wow. So, and you think of, and that's anywhere in Gila County. So,
yes.
Wow. Huh.
So primarily, we have a problem up at Waterwheel.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Waterwheel, if you're not familiar with it, it's on the river. It's on the East Verde, and it's a very popular place. There's not enough parking for the amount of interest that's up there. Okay. So they park all over the road, across the road. They ignore the no parking signs. None of that has any teeth to it.
Wow. Yeah.
Because honestly, unless something is like literally blocking the road, they won't call a tow truck. And there's no way for the sheriff's department to come in and ticket a particular vehicle. They have to ticket a person. And they're not going to sit up there and wait for a person to park.
Yes.
And so that's what the intent is here. And once again, it's not intended to just fine everybody or create a whole new revenue stream. It's just public safety. It's like we've put the signs up, we've warned you. There's children running across the roads everywhere. The fire department up there at Waterwheel sometimes has issues, or thinking that they may have issues getting through the road to get down to Beaver Valley or any place like that because of the amount of stuff going on there. So it's a serious issue. It's one of those things where we need more parking. So I asked the Forest Service, hey, can you increase the parking? Well, no, we're not inclined to increase the parking. And because, some of that parking is vendor related and, this and that, even though that now is expired, I don't know if they're interested in doing that. And I said, well, can we put some boulders up along the road to keep people from parking? Well, no, if you do that, then it creates liability. If someone hits the boulder, then they'll sue the Forest Service. And so, in other words, when you start asking how you can make some common sense decisions regarding this, the answer is usually no. It's always no. We can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then we put up signs, no parking, no parking, no parking. And quite honestly, it's unenforceable. So it's just a suggestion and everyone ignores it. And they know no one's going to come get them. And so anyway, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, this it sounds like this new ordinance would help resolve that issue.
Well, we're hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping. So we should be able to see that as well pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, some encouraging things. We've got a new U.S. Congressman in our area, Eli KRIM, and he's back in Washington right now. And they're voting over who's going to be Speaker of the House, and there's kind of a big debate. And I got to tell you, I think that's okay. It's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who do we want to actually lead as Speaker of the House? And we're not just willing to rubber stamp the heir apparent.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're debating over this and that. And it's important because the Speaker in the House determines how all the committees are set up. And if you don't understand how Congress works, the committees are extremely important in the process. So if you're the majority party, then the chairman of each committee is going to be part of that majority party. Okay? And there will be a majority of the majority party on the committee. Okay? Those are all important. You say, oh, well, that's kind of complicated. So all these different committees that are formed are the ones where bills pass through before they ever reach the floor of the House for a vote. If they ever reach the floor of the House for a vote. And it's because of whether they die in committee, or whether or not they get so modified, or whether or not they're not heard, or whether or anything like that. And so who's on the committees, who the chairman is in the committee, how many of what you would call Freedom Caucus of your more conservative Republicans are on that committee, all those things really matter. So the debate right now over Kevin McCarthy is going to be how these committees are set up, what's your promise, because there are really not very many conservative Republicans in Congress anymore. 30 to 40 or whatever out of the over 200 Republicans. So they're all very moderate or semi-liberal when it comes to that sort of thing, and that's what the debate is about right now. The more conservative side is saying, we want more of a voice. You're not giving us the voice of the people that we represent. We believe that Eli KRIM, of course, represents Gila County right in this area, which is ultimately a conservative area. And so I think Eli is holding the line and saying, I'm not voting for Kevin McCarthy until I see promises from him. And so that's kind of where we're at. And I think all that's healthy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not disruptive, it's healthy. And so we have new districts, congressional districts, we have new districts in the county. We have a new governor. We have a new governor, and so we're going to see where that leadership goes, how the governor is able to work with Congress, state Congress, and all of that. So these are all things we got to feel our way through in 2023, but I'm really hopeful everything's going to go great. And of course, as I was saying before, we have a new council.
Yeah.
We have a new mayor.
A few new, a couple new on there. So yeah, it's all exciting, and I think a lot of great things happening in the county, in our community, in the town. So
there's a lot of great things, and I really look forward to working hard, coming right out of the first part of the year now. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of things to tackle, take on.
A renewed vigor.
Yes, there we go. Well, it is 10:30. Is that time?
Really?
So thank you. Yes. Look at that. I know, it goes by so quick.
It does.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and share and inform our listeners, what's happening in the county. And
Thanks for having me.
What you have been working on, and it's great. And now the meetings, again, the next meeting for county supervisors is?
I don't know. We actually don't have that schedule yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it's in 2 weeks from yesterday.
Gotcha. So, but you can follow Steve Christensen on his Facebook page, and he puts a lot of great information out there, letting you know what he's doing, what the county's doing, about the meetings. So that's, what is the Facebook?
Supervisor Steve Christensen.
There you go. Easy. Simple. Well, thank you again, Steve. And
Thank you, Chris.
thank you, everyone, for listening, and also a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring the KRIM Community Spotlight Program. Time to get back to the music with some John Cougar, Jeff Healy Band, Aerosmith, and more. But first, a quick update from the National Weather Service.
Good job.
Yeah, for some reason, Facebook wasn't operating, so it's just on YouTube. We stream on both YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, but yeah, Facebook wasn't connecting, and I don't know why. I need to look at it. It said something about permissions or logging in, so